Aloha, my friends. Oh my gosh, what a day. There's just so much energy happening today. The atmospheric river in California has kicked off. It's been raining since I woke up. I woke up to just downpour. I'll create some videos soon to show you.
And it's rolling into the San Lorenzo River. Again, a little bit more water today. Hoping it stays slow.
I don't know if I've ever seen it this full, honest. Well, I have, but it's big. And I looked at the astrology chart for today, and I do 13 sign astrology. And for those of you who don't know, the NASA released about 6 years ago that there is a 13th sign named Ophiuchus that is situated between Scorpio and Sagittarius in the zodiac constellations up in the sky. And today, the moon, the planet of emotion, the planet of mood, the planet of how we feel in our mind, is in this sign of Ophiuchus. It's in that constellation. Combined with that, the sun, right, which represents the soul self, our who we are, is in the sign of Pisces. And Pisces is such a deep sign. It is the 12th, the last sign of the zodiac. It is the sign before the new beginning of the year begins, Aries. Because I do 13 sign astrology, the new beginning of Aries does not begin until April 20th. And so we're actually in the last sort of ending of the year in this last month from Pisces to Aries. It's kind of like this last kind of experience of winter before we go into the real beginning of 2023, the real start, just kind of like how there's spring, summer, fall. Aries starts the beginning of the year. It's a fire sign, the initiator. It's about courage and new endeavors and charging forwards on your life path, your life purpose. So we're moving towards that. But from now, March 14th till April 20th, it's a water sign. It's Pisces time. And this system I use is based on the actual stars. It's based on the constellations. And many of you may not know this, but Western astrology, popular astrology, is not based on the constellations. It's not based on the actual location of the stars. It's based on where they were 2,000 years ago. It's more based on the seasons that have been fixed in time and space. And so if you're curious to know about what constellation in the sky right now a planet is in, 13 sign astrology or sidereal astrology is going to be the most accurate form that I've found to learn this information. So what does it all mean? What is up with Ophiuchus? Why am I just so like, whoa, about today? Okay, let's get into it. So Sun and Neptune in a water sign in Pisces. And it's raining, pouring. Neptune is the unconscious. Neptune is the deep, deep underworld of our being. And Neptune is our imagination. It's fantasy. It's our dream world, right? It's not our like active, go, do, move and groove out in the world energy. It's the energy that creates. So it's the energy that we want to get into when we're creating something. But it is a deep internal energy. It's water sign. It's a water element, dreams, fantasy, imagination. It flows, right? The symbol for it are the fishes. And so it's about swimming, right? It's like swimming in the waters of our consciousness. And the sun being in that sign can definitely cause us to feel deeply, to go deep into like our feeling body. Our intuition is awakened, our psychic senses are awakened, our sensitivity is increased. And if you're already a highly sensitive person, it can be like, okay, already, you know, add to that the fact that the planets Jupiter and Venus and several others are in Pisces. So we've got this huge lineup of Piscean water energy, the sun, we have Venus, we have Jupiter. I'll get the chart up there. Let's get the chart up there. Let's have a look here. What's going on in that chart? What am I going on and on about? You know, it's such a gift to know this astrological system that's current to the sky. It's current to what's happening. So on days where I wake up and I'm just kind of like, what's going on? Why am I feeling this way? What's happening in the collective? Because I don't know about you, but some days I'll wake up and I'll be fine personally, but I will feel something bigger afoot. Something in the world will sort of say, hi, So I wanted to just tune in to what is going on astrologically today and give you a better sense from the viewpoint that the planetary bodies, the sun, moon, Mercury, Mars, Jupiter, and all the star constellations from Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, they have an interaction and they have an effect on our physiology. Just like when the moon is full, it tends to draw our energy upward. And when the moon is new, it draws our energy more internal. In the same way, it hasn't been studied as much, but if you study Taoism or you study Qigong or the ancient arts, they'll often talk about the effect of the star systems, the constellations, and the planetary bodies vibrationally on our energy fields. And doesn't it make sense? I mean, how many of you have stood outside at a campfire, staring up at the sky, feeling the vibration of the stars, and felt like a vibrational download, almost like information, a song, some kind of sense, like there's something happening here. Yeah, there is a real transmission. I mean, I have had nights where I am sleeping and I wake up out of nowhere and I'm like, why am I awake? I go outside and there will be a star. Usually it's Sirius. Sirius will wake me up. Sirius will be up there, just so bright, pulsating. And I'm like, yes. So I'll be respectful. I'll be like, okay, you have something to download. You have some wisdom vibrationally to give to me. Okay. And I will listen. So in the same vein, I truly, deeply know that these planetary bodies and star systems do have a vibrational effect on the human body. Of course, the more meditation, spiritual practice, and energy practice we do, building our own energy, strengthening our connection to our own center, to our own breath, and to our own bodies, is really where the power lies, because the planets and stars are constantly shifting, and so are we. However, we have the power to align back to center no matter what's happening. So I just wanted to give you the overview of what the periphery is doing around you and the invitation to always come back into your center. It doesn't matter what's out there. You may sense it, you may feel it, it's happening, but our center is what is key, what is crucial, and what determines our reaction action in the world. That said, I want to give you a report so that you can understand better, maybe even attune. This is what I think is so exciting, is starting to sense and feel when the planets are in which sign and what that feels like in our body space, so that we get to start to get a sense of how these planets in these different signs begin to affect us physiologically and emotionally. So what is happening today? Look, if you look with me, take my mouse. I want you to look at this sign. This is Pisces. Pisces begins in the 13 sign system on March 10th. So those of you who follow Western astrology, Pisces began on February 21st, but in the 13th sign system, which is based on the actual constellation, it is based on what is accurate through a telescope. Today, right now, the sun is only 4 degrees of Pisces because it began on the 10th, according to the system I use. So there's some debate about the actual date of Pisces, 10th or the 13th, but we're just going to go with the 10th. Today is the 4th day of Pisces, and it is conjunct the planet Mercury. Mercury is communication. It is also conjunct Neptune. Neptune is the planet of the soul, and it is also the planetary ruler of Pisces. So, what is the planetary ruler? Well, it's a little bit like each planet in the chart in the sky has a certain vibration according to astrologers, a type of energy. And then each sign has a correlation to that unique energy. And so they're paired up. Like the sun rules the sign of Leo, which is all about performance and self-expression, being bright and shiny. Or Mars, the planet of action, the masculine, the banana, rules Aries, which is the initiator, the beginning, a fire sign. For Venus, the planet of love and beauty, rules Taurus, the sign of beauty, material things, beautiful nature. So each planet has a correspondence to a unique sign. Now, if this is interesting to you, if you would like to learn about the signs, the planets, and the houses, reach out to me. I will be teaching a course in the next month. I have not narrowed down the date yet, but I am going to do one. I'm going to teach a course on astrology, on how to learn it for yourself, how to do your own chart. And I also get a really amazing discount for my students on the software when I teach group classes. So if that's something you're interested in doing with me, reach out. I'm excited. I know that this next class, my last class was amazing. I know this next class is going to be even more potent just because of all the things I've learned since I taught it. Getting back to today, Sun, Mercury, Neptune, Chiron, the wounded healer, Jupiter, the cosmic Santa Claus of the zodiac, Venus, all in Pisces. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 major planets in Pisces right now. Ironically, this was also happening last year. We had this huge Piscean lineup for months, tons of planets in it. So there is a lot of Piscean energy this year, last year. What does that mean? Pisces is I almost think of it as the womb, the cosmic womb. It's not the phase or the time period where we take immense outer external action. It is the space for imagination. It is the space for dreaming, journaling, writing, art. It is all of the sensitive arts, drinking tea, being conscious, okay? Meditation, dance, intuitive body work, massage, healing. All of these things fall into the category of Piscean energy. It is also the mystic. It is the spiritual guide. It is the guru that you go to and you receive divine spiritual awarenesses from. And when you have 5 planets in the sign of Pisces, guess what? You are drawn inward. By its nature, it's dreamy, it's mystical, it is a water sign. And how appropriate that the water is coming down like it is. Add to that the fact that in numerology, it is a 7-year, and a 7-year is all about spirituality, mysticism, water. It's ruled by the planet Neptune, just like Pisces is. And if you want to go to another system in Chinese astrology, it is the year of the water rabbit. My friends, if you feel the urge to get up and light a candle right now, you might go ahead and do that, because we have any planets in fire? There's 1 asteroid. Okay, there are some planets in fire. There's a couple. There's a little bit of fire going on, but there is a lot of water. Okay. Pluto's still kind of hanging out in Sag. Okay. Okay, we got North Node in Aries. Got Juno in Aries now. Wow, that's going to cause some real fiery energy in relationships. Juno is the asteroid of marriage. Aries is independence, it's individuality, it's fire, it's courage, it's new beginnings. So there could be a lot of fireworks happening in relationships right now, especially since it's conjunct the North Node. The North Node is individuality. It is the freedom to choose our own self. It is the freedom to say, you know what? I have to do me. It's this urge to be yourself. It's like this calling, like I want to just be me. And it will shed everything else that is not that. And North Node is the karmic destiny point. It's our North Node. It's our North Star. It's sort of what is guiding the collective. It's like a teaching, a lesson. an explanation of where we are, where we're headed as a collective. And it's in Aries. So there is such immense thirst and passion for individuality and purpose and self-expression right now. If you're feeling itchy or uncomfortable in a relationship that you're in, it might not necessarily be the relationship as much as this collective urge to be individually free, to be exactly who we are. It's like a thirst. It's like this driving force. And the South Node, I'm pretty sure, would then be in Libra, which is then about relationship, or it might actually be in the end of Virgo by now. Yeah, it's in the end of Virgo. So that means that our past lives that are being activated right now, because South Node is all about our past lives, are about Virgo. So it's about our past lives of working too hard, being a healer, giving too much. All those kinds of stories might be coming up. You might be feeling tired. Like if you've been a healer in a past life, I'm going to raise my hand right now. You might be feeling some tiredness as past life trauma of having given too much is coming up to be released. You know, it's funny when I read these charts because I don't plan it necessarily. And then I'm like, oh, yep, I'm going through that. Yep, I'm going to raise my hand too. So it's okay. It's okay. We are gaining information to digest so that we can then interact with the energies with more knowledge, more awareness, so that we can move forward with more choice. Okay. So if again, you're feeling that drive for independence, we're going to add in the energy of Uranus, which is the planet of change and revolution and excitement. So that's a very stimulating energy that wants to create change. So if you're having change and disruption and just things are not settling, you know what? This year, because of the strong Piscean Neptune influence, is so much about spiritual growth, personal identity, and that North Node in Aries that's thirsting for that action to move forward, it's going to move back into Pisces pretty soon here. So when North Node, which is our North Star, moves from Aries into Pisces, that focus is going to line everything up because the North Star is going to go into Pisces. The year, which is a 7, is Pisces. The Chinese astrology sign, the water rabbit, is in Pisces. So everything's going into Piscean energy this year. And so what does that even mean? My intuitive sense is that we're being called really deep into our spiritual practices this year. I mean, you could say that every year, right? Our spiritual practices, you know, how we find our peace and our center are like so important every year for all of time, for all of our lifetimes, right? But this year, it feels to me like every system I'm studying is lining up with this divine focus on our spiritual practice, on breath work, meditation, dance. And it's not just that too, it's also our art. Pisces is the art, because art and music, the muse, Pisces is the muse. Pisces is the artist muse that draws us into this other world, this other dimension from which we gain all this awareness that then we wish to express back out through art, through expression. Maybe it's through our music. Maybe it's through video production, because video is ruled by Neptune. So all of the great films, movies, they relate to the planet Neptune. And as I said before, Neptune rules Pisces. So if you're curious, you want to learn more about the energies of this year, especially the energies between now, March 14th through April 20th, I would really recommend reading about Pisces energy, reading about the 12th house, reading about Neptune. All those things relate to Pisces energy, this sort of deep, mystical, intuitive energy that calls us inside. It calls us out of the work world. It calls us out of the drudgery of the daily life. It calls us into this mystical realm. So I know we have to work. We have to put forth effort and give and share. But during this time between March 14th and April 20th, I highly recommend doing at least one of the three, starting some kind of a daily spiritual practice, meditation, breath work, yoga, movement, qigong, anything that's going to get you out of the daily mindset and into your spiritual body. Singing, art, music, dance, anything that takes you out of the mundane and into the flow, right? Into the awareness of something beyond, something within, okay? And really trust that this is actually serving you. So if you're really working hard on something and you are having challenges, you might need more rest right now. You might need to do more meditation. You might need to pause, get outside into nature. You might need to put in a couple. When I work with coaching clients, a lot of times, I often have said 5 minutes a day. Can you take 5 minutes a day to do one thing that nourishes you? Is it just sitting quietly? Is it painting? I really love watercolor. Watercolor is very Piscean. It's very soothing. It's very calming, especially if you light a candle, you drink a cup of hot tea. It can get you into a really sweet, peaceful state. And the energy right now is so calling us into that space to just reset. I feel that there's a lot of movement forward coming in April, and I'm getting this intuitive guidance, like it's a good time to pause. This is like the last leg of winter, right? The last leg. I know spring's coming supposedly March 21st, but if we look at the astrology, the sun does not enter Aries, which is what they say starts on March 21st until April 20th. The sun will not be in the constellation of Aries until April 20th. And so it gives you one more month of going inward. And Pisces energy is all about going inward. It's all about filling up your cup. And I know it's so interesting that they say April starts March 21st and we're getting ready for that fire energy. But my friends, based on the constellations, that fire energy is not coming until April 20th. And so, maybe test it out, see how you feel. Am I feeling super active and go, go, go? Or am I actually like tired? Am I actually feeling more watery? Am I feeling more emotional and more internal? And give yourself the room and the space to do that. 5 minutes a day, okay? So on top of all the watery planets in Pisces and the fact it's pouring rain, which please say a prayer if you're watching this, please say a prayer for California and all those out there in the water today, that they be safe and protected. And Mama Gaia, elementals, if you're listening, do you think you could just maybe like quiet down just like a little bit, like just like a little bit less water? Because our earth to hold you is running out of earth. We need more earth to hold you. So Mama Water, could you just like quiet down just a little bit? Like imagine we're at a faucet, at the bathtub or the sink, and we could just maybe turn that down just like a little tiny bit. Would that be okay? Would you be willing to do that for us? And just please, there's people out there, please be gentle on the people. Mama Gaia, thank you. I do feel our prayers matter, and they do affect the collective, and they do affect weather. So you could just visualize some quieting coming down of the rain. That would be awesome. Awesome. Thank you. So coming back to what caused me to get on here in the first place. If you look down here, you're going to see this moon symbol, and it's in this interesting looking sign of Ophiuchus. How many of you have heard of Ophiuchus, the 13th sign? Yeah, it's a bit of a controversy. I'll be honest with you. When I first started following it 1 year ago, I was not prepared for the impact it was going to have on my life. I thought, oh, there's a 13th sign. Wow, that's wild. I never knew that. Why doesn't anyone talk about it? So I started doing some research. and one of my favorite all-time sidereal astrologer, and sidereal means that the astrology is true to the constellations, true to the actual stars. Western astrology is based on the seasons and it's not based on what's actually happening in the sky. That's the difference. That's all. So when I discovered 13th sign astrology, wow, I was like, well, how do I find out what my chart is? Because when you add in that 13th sign between Scorpio and Sagittarius, it changes the whole chart. And I know most of you don't read charts. My mom taught me from an early age, so I know what this all means, just because I've memorized, the signs, and I've memorized the planets, and I've memorized the symbols for the planets. So it's pretty easy to read. It's just like any other type of map. You just have to learn the symbols. And then, oh God, all these lines. Well, that's pretty simple too. It's just squares, and the square is a difficult relationship and a triangle is an easy one. And it's just sort of like that. So I learned about the 13th sign and I was like, okay, last January, a little over a year ago. Like, okay, this is interesting. And then I was like, what does my chart look like? I wanted to know. So I had to do a lot of searching, and I found the one program on the internet, the one software program that actually makes 13th sign astrology charts. There was one. I did so much research. There was one, and I got it. I was like, you know what? I'm doing astrology readings. I just started an astrology business, literally. It's like, you know what? I'm going to buy it. So I bought it. I did my chart, and it changed my chart. Not a whole lot, but just enough to be really powerful. And it changed one thing in my chart that was life-changing. And one day I'll share more about that with you, but it shifted my whole realm. I'm still learning how to integrate what I learned because it was such a powerful shift, but it felt so right. It felt so true to myself and who I am that I just felt like, you know what? I should do this. I should do this. So I started doing readings. And when I included that 13th sign along with the sidereal system, which is true to the constellations and what's in the actual sky, it blew my mind, the accuracy. I mean, not just 1 out of 10, 2 out of 10, 3 out of 10, 5 out of 10. I mean, 100 out of 100. I mean, 99 out of 100. I think there was 1 or 2 people who were like, no, that's not me. Fine. But seriously, it really blew my mind. And my partner at the time, when I was down living with him, he would come in and he would witness me doing readings, walk in, and he walked in on so many readings with the same response happening of, oh my God, I can't believe it. Oh my God, that it blew his mind. And it's still blowing my mind because I will meet a person, I will do their reading, and it's like 100% accuracy, like every time. And it's just wild. So if you'd like to have your chart read with this 13th sign system, please reach out. It's really fun for me. And I also combine it with healing work. And healing work is really, well, what trauma or emotional challenge came in through your ancestry or your past life? What trauma vibrationally is blocking your true expression? And I've done so much work with myself, releasing and upgrading my energy. And I can't even believe what's possible for me now, as opposed to when I first started doing energy work. I wouldn't have been able to be here talking to you. I had such a block around expressing myself, such a block to being a teacher, to sharing my truth with the world. I mean, it was painful. I'm still working through it, to be honest with you, but I've gotten to a place where my desire and my drive to share with you the truth is so strong that it literally bypasses any other resistance. And so that's why I'm here today, and really great lead up to what Ophiuchus is all about, which is Ophiuchus isn't even recognized by popular astrology. And if you research Ophiuchus as the 13th sign, there will be hundreds of articles saying, no, it's not a sign. But if you look up at the constellations, you will see it. Ophiuchus is right between Scorpio and Sagittarius. It's actually a huge constellation. It's huge. It's like bigger than almost any of the other ones. Tall, it's long and tall. And it's called the snake tamer is another name for it. And it's a person taming a snake. Some people say it's a man. A lot of other people are like, no, that's a woman. We'll get into that. So Ophiuchus, to me, is very powerful because of the things that have happened in my life since I started interacting with this energy, tuning into it, starting to learn about what is it, right? What is the 13th sign, right? Why is it such a big deal? Why are people so interested in this 13th sign astrology? Because when you meet 13 sign astrologers, they are so into it and you're like, why? Okay, so I'm gonna share with you why. I actually have a presentation that I did in a former video about Ophiuchus. So I'll share that with you today and we can go into what is Ophiuchus all about? Why is this sign rocking the world, and why might Ophiuchus become a very, very famous new energy as people begin to open to it? Yeah, it's coming, folks. It really, really, truly is. So Ophiuchus, I've had about a little over a year to tune into this. I've worked with people who have it, their ascendant, their sun sign, their north node in Ophiuchus. And I've really starting to get a sense of what is this energy all about? And what has come to me, and the title that I've given to it, is the guardian of the mystic, the guardian of the ancient secrets, the initiate, the guardian of the galactic center. So these people are deep. I mean, we've usually thought of Scorpio people as deep, but when you get into Ophiuchus, now we're talking extreme depth. I think Ophiuchus people, they have a lot of planets in Ophiuchus, are like the masters and the teachers and the initiates of sacred, secret mystery schools. And they're the people who have been guides and guardians for thousands of years of sacred knowledge, who've put their heart and their soul into learning teachings and learning how to guide others into sacred ceremonial spaces and transformations. They're the master alchemists. And the galactic center is located in the universe, and the universe and the constellations, right? When the sun shines on Ophiuchus, is approaching the galactic center, which is a place in the universe where there's a gigantic black hole that some people call like a divine portal, right? Like I think of it as the great mystery, probably. It's the source, kind of like a cosmic womb, like where infinite possibility is possible. Because what is infinite black hole, right? It's infinite possibility, right? And so I think of them as the guardian of the divine mystic, divine feminine, honestly. And it can be a man body, a woman body, but Ophiuchus really represents this balanced gender energy that is aligned to center and not to feminine, not to masculine, but to source. And so they are sort of unusual, deep people. They can be very secretive and they can be very wounded, because what I've also discovered is that Ophiuchus in our chart represents the area of persecution. Ophiuchus people have probably been the most persecuted people on the planet for thousands of years. And so Ophiuchus energy does carry a tendency to have a lot of pain, grief, sadness that has to be worked through. And I think on a collective level, we all carry a portion of this. All of us are carrying a certain amount of pain, like super deep pain around persecution. And that is one of my passions as an energy healer, to work with and to help assist people in healing. It has been one of my biggest, deepest stumbling blocks to move forwards on my path and my journey as a teacher, because I felt so deeply wounded. And I don't know, do you believe in past lives? I certainly felt like I perceived them. And I felt deeply wounded from many lifetimes of feeling like I was persecuted for teaching and sharing wisdom and truth from my heart. And I know a lot of us can really deeply relate. I'm not going to be for everyone, but a lot of us can really deeply relate to this feeling. And so it's one of my passion projects to assist people in clearing the trauma and healing the trauma once and for all of persecution trauma, so that they can vibrantly, brightly rise up out into the world with their gifts and their offerings. Because I truly know, sense, feel that we are here right now for a reason, and that each one of us is here to be who we are, and that we have a purpose to share. We have something inside of us that needs to be shared. And if you're not sharing it, it can cause stagnation, it can cause illness, it can cause pain, it can cause suffering. So I truly want to be a force to assist those who wish to transform these old layers of suppression and finally release and clear them, because I truly know that we are leaders. There are leaders here who need to be leading the people. And so if you would like support clearing this stuff, please reach out to me. It is an honor. I did a group healing on it last week with 8 women, and I was astonished. It was an astonishing experience to realize that this pain of persecution that I had felt my whole life and didn't quite know what it was until I started learning about this issue is shared. I really deeply realized, like, holy cow, like, so many people are feeling this same vibrational feeling, and it's not just our individual pain, it is a collective issue. So I'm going to keep going and keep doing healing around this issue. It takes a lot of deep awareness and compassion and forgiveness and allowing the divine rage to flow up and out, allowing the pain to come up and out, to just pull in the healing of source creator to start healing those places and spaces within us. But if you have questions, if you would like support with that, please reach out. Now, I want to share with you Ophiuchus. I want to share this presentation that I did about Ophiuchus about a year ago, where I had come to a place doing 13 sign astrology last May where I'd started to doubt myself. I'd started to wonder, like, is this astrology real? Am I having a positive effect on people's lives? Is this really worth my time and energy? And I had this experience that was like mind-blowing, to the point where I think I will always have this faith that this astrology system is very, very accurate. And there's something here that is very important. Ophiuchus energy, I feel, is here to bring back the power and the truth of the divine feminine. And why do I say that? Well, Ophiuchus used to be part of the zodiac. It was part of it until the Babylonian era. And they decided to cut the 13th constellation off the circle, and make it 12. And so they created their astrological system with 12 instead of 13. Well, how many moon cycles are there in a year? There are 13 moon cycles in a year. How many women's menstrual cycles are there in a year? 13. Okay, so there is a correlation between the number 13 and women's moon cycles, the cycles of the moon, and nature. So my sense is that when you bring the number 13 back into the constellations, you're aligning back to nature. And then if you look at the Mayan calendar, they also have 13 moons. There's been a lot of work around revealing that what happened to our 13 moon system. Why have we been being forced to live in a 12-month calendar when there are actually 13 moons? And what does that do to us physiologically and psychologically? And so part of my work has been to really be bringing back in the energy of nature into the astrological system, into our emotional body, our psychological body, and reconnecting us to the divine feminine. So the other thing that was brought to my attention is that okay, I'm getting ahead of myself. So I'll share my screen with you now. And I want to share with you the presentation that I created in a former YouTube video, and just share with you more about what is Ophiuchus, what is the 13 sign system. Oh goodness, that's not working. Give me 1 minute to fix this. Stop share. All right, so this is such powerful information, and I'm coming to you live with it because I feel that there are no accidents, and the fact that the moon is in Ophiuchus, to me, feels very meaningful very powerful. And I really want to share with you this information. So let me find this presentation I did. You know, it's funny, every time I do a class on the 13 sign astrology, it takes so much to make it happen. And I think there's somewhat of a block in the mainstream reality around getting this Ophiuchus information out there. So we just got to keep pushing through. Just got to keep pushing through, because it's time, in my opinion, for the rise of the divine feminine, the return of this beautiful energy back to the earth. So I'm going to start here. So the Babylonians cut off the 13th sign to fit it into their 12-month calendar when there are actually 13 moons per year. And ironically, guess how many places? There are 13 humps on a turtle's back. And this is going to blow your mind. But then on the outer shell of the turtle, there are 28, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 14, 15, 16, 19, 20, 28 outer circles, which are the 28-day cycle, right? And so if you're a woman, some women's cycles are not totally 28 days. Mine is like exact 28-day cycle on the outside and 13 moons perfectly lining up to a woman's menstrual cycle. What is that? There's something here, my friends. There's something very powerful happening. Why was this 13th sign system? Why was the 13th sign cut off of the zodiac? Why was Ophiuchus left out? And why, when you search for it being the 13th sign, do they deny it over and over again? Every website I go to, they say, no, 13th sign is not a real part of astrology. Why? And why is Western astrology call itself astrology when it's not even based on the stars? It's based on where the stars were 3,000, 2,000 years ago, and is no longer accurate to the actual sky. I mean, it is just mind-blowing. And another thing that Ophiuchus is all about is revealing the truth. Ophiuchus is all about revealing that which has been hidden. Okay, it is the grand revealer. It is the sign of transformation, and it represents a woman or a man with a snake. The snake is the constellation Serpens. It has 22 main stars. It got its name from the dark horse. Okay, so Ophiuchus is real. Okay, so let's see, can I play this? I'll come back to this one. So who is Ophiuchus? Ophiuchus is the interpreter of dreams, the seeker of peace and harmony, poetical, inventive, expanding qualities, seeks higher education and knowledge, can have a large family. Okay, so its dates are actually December 7th through December 18th or 19th. So if you're born between December 7th and 19th, the signs, I know it says 29th of November through 7th, it changes because the 13 sign system is based on the actual stars in the sky. It does change a bit from year to year, not by much, but it does change a bit because the actual constellations are moving. They're not static. They don't stay still like Western astrology says they do. They're constantly moving slightly. They move slightly backward in relation to the Earth, 1 degree every 72 years. So here's a picture of Ophiuchus. It's right next to something called Bernard's star, which is one of the absolutely closest stars to us. And look how close it is to Antares. Antares is the heart of the scorpion. Antares is like very intense energy. It's a giant red star. It's 6 to 8 meters larger than the sun. Okay, and then there's Sagittarius, there's Scorpio, there's Libra, and then here is Ophiuchus. Right here, right? And so why don't they want people to know about this sign? Why? And it just relates again back to all those people in our society where they've been suppressed. They've had to be secret. They've had to keep their knowledge secret. They've had to go into sacred communities to hide the knowledge for their own safety. So why is Ophiuchus being kept so secret? What great power does it have that could really powerfully transform us in the world? And so Ophiuchus in the Greek mythology is actually related to a story about a man named Asclepius. And this is a very interesting story. Asclepius was the son of Apollo and a woman named Coronis, which I don't know about you, but isn't that bizarre that her name is Coronis? I mean, what are the chances? Coronis was wounded because of adultery, and Apollo, the father, delivered his child to Chiron, who is a centaur, to be trained. And so Chiron was this amazing centaur in Greek tradition who trained all of the greats, right? He was the great teacher and master of the time. So he taught Asclepius healing. He taught him all the secrets of healing arts and knowledge and education. And Asclepius became the most powerful healer on the earth. He became so powerful that he literally was able to bring a human back from the dead, which is actually how he got into trouble. So from the earliest records of civilization, the snake, which is part of Ophiuchus, played a significant role. It's an enigmatic creature with supernatural powers. They're also seen as benevolent creators. They're often related to women. And if you see a picture of a snake's mouth, holy cow, it looks like a vulva. Like if you see a snake open its mouth, it literally looks exactly like a vulva, which is just wild. The protector of wisdom, eternal life. It's also about transformation and rebirth, right? Because the snake sheds its skin, right? It's got this magic and this mysticism. So the snake has this really turbulent role in our historical past, right? As being either a perpetrator of evil, an agent of death, or a bestower of eternal life. So its symbol, right, is become the Kardashians. It's become what they use in our medical profession, right? The snakes twining up the ladder. And Asclepius, the man associated with the Greek myth of Ophiuchus, was able to raise a man from the dead with the application of herbs. And they say that it was a snake that taught him this. Well, if women have always been associated with snakes, then perhaps it was a woman who taught Asclepius all of these secrets. But in the story, it's not said that it was a woman, it's said it was a snake. And I think this relates back to this very deep wound around women not having been allowed to be healers and teachers and guides for thousands of years, sort of cut off and said, no, the men are the healers, men are the teachers, you are just here to bear children and take care of the house. And of course, we have the feminist movement, right? That was in retaliation to this. But that isn't right either, because women, not only can we be amazing teachers and guides and leaders, but we are still capable of being moms and bringing forth children and caring for the home. And there are multiple sides to femininity that have to be balanced and respected. And men are so integral part of the world. It's about balance. It's about bringing feminine and masculine into harmony. It's about both being able to express their true nature and to not have to suppress any parts of ourselves, right? And so here we have the Hippocratic Oath. And Asclepius, the man who was named, that Ophiuchus, the snake tamer, is named after, was pivotal to medicine. And the original Hippocratic Oath begins with, I swear by Apollo, the physician, Asclepius, Hygeia, and Panacea, and all the gods and goddesses, making them my witness that I will fulfill according to my abilities this oath. So there's this very deep connection between Ophiuchus, Asclepius, and the Oath of Hippocrates, the medical physicians of today and of healing. Okay. Let's see. So Athena, another part of this myth, was that Athena was Asclepius's aunt, and she gave him a gift at one point. And these are my gifts to you, she said. They are filled with Gorgon blood. The blood in my left hand will kill, that and my right hand will heal. And so that is why I call Ophiuchus a guardian, a master, a great guru, a great teacher, because Ophiuchus energy has the power to kill or to heal, right? So you don't want to get on their bad side, no. Ophiuchus energy has the maturity and the wisdom to be able to handle the depth of responsibility that knowing what herbs or substances will kill or will heal. And that is what many masters or initiates have had to know, right? You can go to see a doctor and the same medicine could heal someone or kill them. And it is the doctor's responsibility to know how to handle those energies, right? And so Ophiuchus is about having the power, the responsibility, and the wisdom to be able to handle the depths of life and death, be able to handle the knowledge of that which could save a life or that which could end a life. And those were the masters, right? The great teachers and guides for thousands of years. So why has that energy been cut off of our 12 sign system? Okay, it's time to bring back the 13th sign system. And what if, here we go, there were 12 disciples at the Last Supper, right? And Jesus, how much does that add up to? That adds up to 13. So for many years now, I've been hearing that, Mary Magdalene, who was supposedly just another one of his people that he'd helped, was actually his divine counterpart and was actually in line to be the next teacher after him. And in the Dead Sea Scrolls and some other ancient biblical texts, she's actually written some, right? She's actually written some words and has been revealed potentially as having been his equal. Wow, that is so huge. That is so huge because for thousands of years, the feminine has been cut out of the Bible as a potential teacher, as a potential spiritual guide. She's been relegated to having been, the servant or the housewife, but never actually an equal teacher. And so I feel that Ophiuchus energy is really here to start bringing back this divine truth that women and men are divine counterparts. We're not one better than the other. We're equal. We're different. We're not the same. We're totally different. Women are ruled by estrogen and men are ruled by testosterone. And the things that increase women's estrogen make us feel really good, like shopping and love and chocolate and connecting to other women, actually depletes men's testosterone. And so they need to do things like talk to other men and go out into the world and focus hard on their business and take efforts and be successful to grow their testosterone. Women, if we do the same thing, will actually deplete our estrogen. And so with this huge drive of women being out in the workforce and working so hard, and we have a tendency to deplete our estrogen. And so it's so important if you're a woman out there with a strong career focus and you're really here to share your purpose and you're on path and you're working hard, that you learn to balance your estrogen levels and make sure that as well as going out there, fighting for your purpose and sharing your gifts with the world, which I totally am here for. I support 100%. I feel like I'm on the similar path of being so purpose driven. But there is the reality of hormonal interplay in our bodies, and things that support women are connecting to other women, spending time talking about our feelings, eating chocolate. I had one amazing friend who's an amazing feng shui consultant, 30 years, very successful business. And I asked her, how did she deal with the stress of going out there and being in that career world? And she said, on really stressful days, she would eat a huge piece of chocolate cake. And I was like, wow, in the past, I would have thought, well, why would she do that? Doesn't seem very healthy. But now, knowing what I know about estrogen and that chocolate actually increases it. So side note to you men, chocolate does increase estrogen. For women, that's great because estrogen is our driving hormone. This is such a great conversation to have here at the Last Supper table. I hope they're enjoying hearing about it. And how powerful and helpful would that have been if they could have written into the gospel, women thrive well with estrogen. These are the things that support it. And men thrive well with testosterone. And these are the things that support it. And men and women go out and, nurture yourselves and put yourselves into balance. And I think that's one reason why having groups that can sometimes just be men or just be women can be really powerful, because women need different things to find stress relief than men do, and vice versa. I've been leading a women's new moon group, and it's been so powerful just to have women there and to just allow everyone to be able to get into that flow state of the estrogen and not feel shy or embarrassed, but just feel very safe to express themselves. So if you're interested in joining this new moon group that I have been putting together, please reach out. It's a beautiful group of women. It's been such an honor to bring us together. And men, it's important for you to be around other men and go out and build that testosterone energy and that power that you are. So there's a big difference between men and women. And yet I do think that role, right, of sitting at the divine table with Jesus, right? And instead of Mary Magdalene, or, just being there, she's his counterpart. She is his equal. In fact, she might have been part of what allowed Jesus to cultivate and create the powerful energy and abilities that he's known for having. And that is what I've read in Taoist traditions and tantric arts, that the path of enlightenment can be achieved through divine union. Of course, it requires a huge amount of discipline, and you do have to raise the sexual energy. You can't just dive into it. You have to do practices to cultivate it together. But that sensual union between man and woman can actually create divine spiritual liberation, potentially, right? So of course, it's a very tricky path. You must be very, very disciplined and focused and have a lot of love for the experience. But Ophiuchus, to me, is an energy that delves into this divine truth of spiritual mastery and the ways in which it can be achieved, and that they can be achieved for more ways than just one. They can be achieved through union between men and women as opposed to separation. That spirituality and divine union between man and woman are actually together. They're not apart, right? This whole 1,000-year cycle of men and women becoming priests and nuns and not having sex and not exploring that side of life to pursue God is not actually necessary, that it actually can be achieved together through the path of liberation, spiritually, sexually, creating amazing beauty together, and also being teachers together and learning together and training together. And I feel like Ophiuchus energy is really here to shine the spotlight, because I feel that those that have strong Ophiuchus energy are the reincarnations of divine masters and teachers of these art forms that have been persecuted for thousands of years and are literally here on the planet right now to give us the downloads, come through and bring their teachings. And I feel that many of them are out there struggling because the pain of persecution is so intense and scary that the thought of getting out there and going on the stage and talking and sharing their truth is terrifying. So if you're one of these people who knows that you have a gift just shining inside of you that is so beautiful and so powerful that has been suppressed or that has been blocked, please reach out to me. You're my person, because I am here to uplift and assist those in breaking free of the boundaries and the barriers that have been blocking you from expressing who you are and who you are here to be. That is what I am here for, because I have been on a similar path and I have such deep compassion and empathy for what it's like. So much, so much. And I just want you to know how loved you are and how beautiful you are and how you're not alone, and that so many people have been dealing with this and it's okay. And that you can get through this. There are ways to get through these blockages and transform them and transmute them and be free. Okay, it's not easy, but it is possible. I just want you to know you can do it. You can do it, right? You can bring yourself back into union. I really feel a lot of what's going on this earth is this divine unification between the masculine energies and the feminine, both within ourselves and in the collective and relationship and in the world. I read a book that was channeled from the Divine Mother. And in this book, she said that the warfare and the pain on the earth was due to this huge separation between the masculine and the feminine energy, that there had been domination on both sides back and forth, and that what would bring the earth into balance would be union, balance, She also said that orgasm, ladies, this is amazing. She said that when a woman orgasms, she literally is creating and bringing energy through her body to create somewhere in the world new land, like an island, right? New matter is birthed through women's orgasm. So I'd never heard that before, but that is such an amazing, beautiful thing to hear about. And with the moon in Ophiuchus, I felt bold enough and brave enough to share this information live on the interweb. So I hope you find this interesting. Now, I was telling you that I was feeling very discouraged about whether or not I should keep following astrology last May. I was complaining to my partner saying, oh my God, I don't know if what I do matters. I don't know if I'm really making a difference. I was crying. I just like, I don't know if I'm enough. And of course, he's reassuring me. He'd watched me give hundreds of readings at this point, was like, you're amazing. You know, you really help people get in touch with who they are. And I was like, listening, and I was listening. And I was like, okay, you know, I felt brave again. And then this happened. This blew my freaking mind. So let's go back to May of last year. And let me show you what really happened in my life, besides the countless readings I've done, to convince me that this astrological work is super, super real. All right, let's see, let's check this out. All right. Okay. All right, here we go. Ready? Let's do this.
Michael had a speaking engagement in Torrance, California for the Freedom Alliance, and got home, there's a rattlesnake in the garden, and I'm so grateful that Michael is fearless, and I distracted it, and he came up with a blunt shovel, and it's pretty brutal, cut off its head. And this is our garden, but rattlesnakes are poisonous, and if I walk around barefoot a lot and it bit me, I could have died. So
we had been away, and we came back home to our house in the desert when I lived down south. And I'd been super wondering if, you know, I should keep doing this astrology stuff. I get down there looking for him. I see him in the garden bed, and I hear this sound. And it's a huge rattlesnake. And he literally had to kill it. It got stuck in the garden hose. And it was so intense and so brutal. And I was shaken. I was shaken up. It was freaking scary, right? And I go inside and I check my screen, and the moon was full on 0 degrees of Ophiuchus. We get home, and this happens.
Michael had a
Let me see here if I can get forwards for you.
Michael had a speaking engagement. There's a, and I just said, this is our garden, poisonous, but a lot. If it bit me, I could have died. So
yeah. So there's another part that actually shows the snake, but I didn't have that for you. I'm going to leave a link below. So if you want to see the whole video that I filmed before that goes into explanation about this, please do. But I just wanted to get on here. I wanted to review this information with you, share with you what I feel, and also reveal to you, like, hey, the moon's in Ophiuchus today, y'all. Like, if you're feeling like, what is that? That's the 13th sign. And the 13th sign is being suppressed in most of mainstream astrology. I mean, if you look it up, they will say, no, the 13th sign is not, it's not a thing. But after today, after seeing this, and after last year, when I was about to give up on 13th sign astrology, I was like, I don't know if it really makes a difference. You know, I was doubting myself. And we got home, and there was literally a rattlesnake in the yard on the day, the full moon of Ophiuchus, the day of, exactly 0 degrees, and the snake comes and visits us. And I got to witness it, and I also got to witness I got to witness my partner having Ophiuchus rising kill the snake. And the Ophiuchus is the snake tamer. Okay. So where in your life do you have to tame a snake, right? What are you taming? Ophiuchus represents mastery. So on days when the moon is in Ophiuchus, we may have intensity come up. We may have depth come up. And we are being challenged as the initiates that we are to step up more deeply into our power. So if you're feeling a challenge, that's natural. Ophiuchus is a challenge. He challenges us, she challenges us to rise into our mastery. But like all other great teachers, we are never given more. There's the snake. We're never given more than we can handle, ever. We're never given more. Just like this snake showing up was so overwhelming, but we're never given more. Such a great picture with Michael. Good job. That was so freaking scary. He handled it so well. So if you can't figure out your purpose, figure out your passion, for your passion will lead you right into your purpose. And I will also say something that I was just talking about was that all the crap that we go through, all of the challenges and the trauma and the struggle that we think is somehow not important, and we wish it wasn't happening, and we're sick of it and we hate it and we wish it would stop, that is the very key to unlocking our purpose. Good. All right. That was interesting. Yeah, that's part of my path. Awesome. So it cut out. Perfect. So that is about all I have to share with you today. I just wanted to just jump on here. I know there's a lot happening on the planet right now, right? There's a lot. And the water is coming down and we're rolling with it. We're got all this Piscean water energy. The moon is in Ophiuchus. It's in the super intense depth sign of spiritual mastery. Taming the snake. Wow. Returning the feminine back to her throne, returning the divine feminine back to the earth stage as the beautiful, equal goddess and guide that she is, teacher and healer. So if you're having stuff come up, that's natural. That's totally natural. You know what I think I'll do now is, if you want to join me, I think I will lead us in a curse clearing. I think I've sent to you this before. I worked with a man named James Lee Beamer, and he told me when I was working with him that there are literally curses that whatever negative energies on this planet there are will put out into the collective. And sometimes we'll be going along and then boom, they'll transmit something into the frequency of the field. And then it can really affect us. And so I've had this curse clearing really help me when I've been like, man, I feel like a super disturbance in the force. Like, what is that? So with everything going on with the intensity of today and the waters and how California, this rain, and some of us wondering, is this real weather or is this being somehow affected by other powers? I wanted to share this curse clearing so that whatever is going on for you today, maybe we can knock some of it out. Maybe we can clear it out of the state, clear it out of our state, and feel better. Okay. So it's very simple. If you're driving, you can listen in and maybe come back to it if you have time. I also have a YouTube video with it you can watch anytime. But if you want to join me right now, We're going to clear some energy for California. What we're going to do, we're going to basically take our thumb and the outside of our index. So right about there. And we're just going to gently put it on your leg. You're going to take 3 fingers, and it's basically going to just involve repeating after me, breathing, and tapping on your third eye, your pituitary, and your pineal. And this was created by James Lee Beamer, who is an acupuncturist and quantum energy specialist, who, to save his own life, he began studying acupuncture, and he developed his own system for healing and clearing the body. And he developed this curse clearing for when there's really funky energy and you just want to kind of blast it out of existence. So if you want to join me, find a comfortable seat, get into your body, get into your breath, get into the here and the now. Feel your roots into the earth. And take your 3 fingers, take your thumb to your index resting on your leg. And you can begin to tap right here and just take a deep breath in and out. Good. And now repeat after me. By the power of all that art divine, all curses, interference, and antagonism, and all angers, fears, and repeaters are bound and defeated, and must leave me now, to return to the source, to be revealed in the truth and absolved in the light, once and for all, right now. So be it. Let it be done, and it is so. Thank you. Take a deep breath in and out. Really tune in to what is coming up for you today. What are the issues or challenges? What are the blockages? What are any feelings of overwhelm or stress or tension or sadness or grief or intensity? What are they? And just breathe into it. Good. And then repeat after me. By the power of all that art divine, all curses, interference, and antagonism, and all angers, fears, and repeaters, entities, and demons are bound and defeated, and must leave me now. Breath in and out. To return to the source, to be revealed in the truth, and absolved in the light. Deep breath in and out. Once and for all, right now. So be it. And just think of all those curses and blockages to the divine feminine, to the divine masculine, to creating union on this earth, to creating peace on this earth, to creating a beautiful world. By the power of all that art divine, all curses, interference, and antagonism, and all angers, fears, and repeaters are bound and defeated, and must leave me now, to return to the source, to be revealed in the truth, and absolved in the light, once and for all, right now. So be it. Let it be done, and it is so. Thank you. Take a nice deep breath in and out. Really tune into it. Really tune into the stuff. Tune into the issue. Get into it. Let it come up. Allow yourself to be held. Allow it to come up and out. Come up and out through all the layers and levels of your body. Deep breath in and out. Creator of all that is, by the power of all that art divine, all curses, interference, and antagonism, all demons, entities, dark forces, curses, black magic, negative energies, blood oaths, anything holding you back, any oaths, vows, promises, fealties, communities, commitments, contracts, bindings, or swearings holding you back this lifetime or any other, and all angers, fears, and repeaters, deep breath in and out, are now bound and defeated, and must leave me now and the collective, to return to the source, to be revealed in the truth, and absolved in the light, once and for all, right now. Deep breath in and out. Imagining this clearing out through you, clearing out through everyone, clearing out through cyberspace, clearing out through the news, media outlets, clearing, 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 clearing. So be it. And absolved in the truth, revealed in the light, once and for all, right now. So be it. Let it be done. And it is so. Thank you. Take a nice deep breath in. And a nice deep breath out. And anything and everything coming up for you right now that is not to your highest and best good, everything and anything preventing you from releasing and clearing it through all the layers and levels of creation, through all directions of time and space, anything and everything preventing that through all the levels and layers of your body and being, through all directions of time and space, will you please now destroy and uncreate it all? Revoke, recant, renounce, denounce, destroy, and uncreate out times a godzillion to all that is. Deep breath in and out. Right and wrong, good and bad, pod and pock, all nine, shorts, boys, povids, and beyonds. Thank you. Let it be done. And it is so. And creator of all that is, it is commanded a complete, unconditional love healing through all directions of time and space, for your body, for your being, through all the cells of your body, through all levels and layers of your body and being, through all directions of time and space, that you be cleansed, that you be purified, that you be healed, that you be uplifted into the light, filled with divine unconditional love and light and healing through all directions of time and space, through your home, through your phone, through your internet, through your cars, through all levels and layers of the divine network, creator of all that is. It is commanded a complete, unconditional love healing through all directions of time and space. Thank you. Let it be done. Let it be done. And it is so. And it is so. Thank you. Good. Deep breath in and out. Release your hand. Take a deep breath in and hold. Exhale, blow it out. Take a deep breath in and hold. Exhale, let it out. Good. Take a deep breath in and hold. Exhale it out. Good. Deep breath in and hold. Repeat silently in your head as you hold your breath. I'm so happy, thankful, grateful. I have so much more space and peace and calm through all layers and levels of my body and my being. Exhale, blow it out. Good. Deep breath in and hold. I'm so happy. Repeat silently in your head. So happy and thankful and grateful that I am loved, that I am loved, that I am supported, that I am safe, that I am free. Then exhale, blow it out. Good. Deep breath in and hold. I am so happy and thankful and grateful that everything in my life is working out for my highest and best good now and always. And exhale, blow it out. Good. Deep breath in and hold. I am so happy and thankful and grateful for this connection to divine love, to source, to the creator of all that is. I am happy. I am safe. I am loved. Exhale, blow it out. Good. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. One more time. Deep breath in and hold. I'm so happy and thankful and grateful. Feel so much more peace, inner calm, stability, and ease. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, God. And then exhale. Blow it out. Good. Deep breath in and hold. I am so happy, thankful, and grateful that I am always protected by the divine, pure source light of the creator of all that is, enfolded in divine love and protection now and always. And then exhale, blow it out. Deep breath in, deep breath out. And just imagine yourself growing roots deep down into Mama Earth, roots connecting down to the core of the earth, connecting to this infinite power supply of Mama Earth healing energy. Inhale, drawing that energy up. Exhale, let it waterfall over the body. And then imagine above your head, beautiful golden sun of light showering over your head, showering through all your body parts, through all the layers and levels of your body and being all the way down to Mother Earth. Good. Connecting to the core. Good. And then inhale as it connects to the core, drawing that energy back up inside the body, creating a little bit like a suction cup. So the energy showering you, it's going around you, shower of light all the way down to the outside of your body, down into the roots of the earth, connecting you to the core of the earth. Inhale, drawing energy back up the inside this container, and then water falling over your head, showering you off. And then imagining all around your halo, around your aura, this beautiful reflective material, and just making the command that only positive energy may enter, and no negative energy may enter, that you're completely ensconced in this beautiful field of divine light and protection, that only positive energy may enter. And just take a nice deep breath in and out, and deep breath in and hold. I am so happy, thankful, and grateful that I'm connected to Mama Earth and to divine source, and that I'm always, always protected and safe. Exhale, blow it out. Just know you can engage this energy whenever you want to. I hope you're having a blessed day. I hope you stay safe. I'm visualizing peace and ease for all of California, imagining the same protective light field all around it, protecting it from any negative energies. May all of our friends and families be safe and protected. May Mama Gaia feel more calm and peaceful. And may all beings on this earth be truly happy, truly healthy, truly free. We are the one source we have been seeking. How does it get better than this? What else is possible? And what magic, miracle, and amazingness can we create today? I send you so much love, so much light. Aloha.